This is Weird Renegade Witches blog. Hit us up when you want some real motherfucking work done. Of course, go to the Weird Renegade website. See the phone number there. Hit me up in reference to lessons and information needed for 101 lessons. However, understand the monthly lessons have already started. In addition to, of course, I do 101 lessons that I work with individuals very closely, which is separate from the monthly lessons. Um, and understand work is there, but it's not like part of, but it's separate, but sometimes it incorporates itself, and I hope that's very clear. However, I get many text messages of people, making statements or trying to get their point across. Not that I'm ignoring you, it's just I have to analyze the frequencies to understand what the fuck you want. However, I will get back to you. Um, as you already know, I'm offering the services of abortion spiritual frequencies of counseling, um, spirit abortion spirit cooking, the frequency of understanding and working through the abortion process. If you had an abortion, I don't care if that shit was 25,000 years ago, that shit still sticks mentally, and it manifests in your life in your later frequencies. You could still be walking around here with postpartum depression, and people don't even talk about the connection of abortions and postpartum and depression, okay? In addition to my spiritual deprogramming frequency to get you through where get you through being deprogrammed under this universal soul, people, friends, husbands, cults, whatever. Okay, so that's that energy, because I'm just kind of want to hurry up and go through some frequencies here. But you already know that art is occultism. Occultism is a motherfucking art. And wayward is about that revenge, redemption, responsibility, and that motherfucking spell work. And I had to put on my Boule wig because there's some energies going on in this universal soul. And then I had to also put on my discernment wig because bitches out here believe that I don't have any discernment because I tend to eat Bura, whatever you call that shit, but I don't eat it now. Anyways, I just kind of want to go through some frequencies that I've been noticing in the universal soul comments and all, and kind of this new movement that's being enforced again in the Black community and the recycled frequencies that they keep putting us under. But I'm understanding that life is an illusion, right? And the bottom line is that I just brought up the spell of discernment. When I'm talking about spell of discernment, I'm talking about things are delusional and illusional, and it is not what we think it is. Then people clown you or think that they, being a spiritual, as I say, scholar, to tell you frequencies about yourself, right? So let's just kind of look at some things real quick. An illusion and trying to have discernment is to look at life. It's the most simplest things within your frequency that's in front of you that you have to ask questions about. Recently, someone forwarded an energy, I'm assuming it was the BET Awards, and it was T.I. and Tiny's daughter. And she was singing her ass off, Is It Just Kicking It by Escape. I was listening to her voice. I said, that little girl can sing her ass off. But that showed me that her mother can sing her ass off. And I was talking to a spiritual constituent about it. He said, bitch, you don't know? Tiny always can sing. And I told him, I said, okay, yeah, the song was inappropriate because she's a kid. It's very grown. But we understand that. But then I understood where Tiny was going. I'm going to put that on the shelf. It's not the same system as Miss what's her name? What they call her? Miss Sherry or Miss whatever. That little girl doing that damn dance shit, and it's a little odd with that. or whatever they call it. I mean, Shirley or whatever, right? What I noticed about this energy is I feel I was bamboozled. And I'm wondering what's going on here, and have we always been bamboozled with people singing in their voices? I'm listening to the little girl very closely. She was singing Candy's part and Latasha's part almost at the same fucking time. But what was very interesting, I would like to know, did y'all peep Tiny? Do you guys understand she was singing the part of Candy's? She was singing Candy's part. And I said, hold the fuck on. Has Tiny always been singing Candy's part? And when we do see Candy sing, is she under the tone tuning? I call it tone and tuning. When your ass can't sing, but they will sit there and teach you tone. And then you could just kind of get past. Was Kaya on to something? And I'm like, damn, how about all that time? It makes a lot of sense why Latasha was talking shit about her, because she's not really talented. She's not the entertainer. She's not the entrepreneur. She's just the businesswoman. She's a business. But they made her part of something and then sat up and said, oh, well, we used her voice. No, it does sound like Sandy. Oh, it does sound like Candy fucked her way up in the energies. Ooh, spirit. Who catch it. Who caught it. Anyway, it sounds like Latasha was right about that frequency, about Candy. And that's why she got demoted. That's why they kicked her up out the group. There's some truth to what Latasha was saying. And then I started thinking about Mariah Carey. I said, in reality, that's the same thing with Mariah Carey. Can she really sing? Because if you go back in time and you really listen to her, well, when she first came out, she was aight. You know, they made a big deal about her, but as time progressed, something shifted. And then were you really getting the real Mariah Carey? Or was she under the tone tuning? Because if you notice, she's always had people surrounding her singing for her. The same thing with Chaka Khan. Now, I believe at one time Chaka Khan was Chaka Khan. And I've heard Chaka Khan sing in person. This was like in this was 1978, 79. And she was at a Juneteenth in Fillmore in San Francisco. And she was with Rufus. Is it around that time? Something. Yeah, I know, right? Long time ago. So anyway, you know, but then we find out that Vesta was singing for her. And Chaka Khan has always had people singing for her. Everything is a fucking illusion. Life is a fucking illusion. You know, it's kind of like I was looking at Michael Douglas and Martin Sheen, and it was Emilio Estevez. I said, are these motherfuckers related? Those are all actors and shit. I said, are they related? They look alike. It's an illusion. I was looking at Sly Stone, A$AP Rocky. I said, wait a minute here. Hey, because you already know I believe that A$AP Rocky's believe it is connected to Denzel Washington. So then I started looking at Sly Stone, A$AP Rocky, and Denzel Washington. All right. Okay. I have questions. So the thing about it is, like I said, life is just an illusion. We don't know what's going on. They tell us that, you know, the energy, right? It's very interesting, because then it's this movement about the whole Boule energy, right? And I said, what is it about this Boule? And what is this energy of people keep trying to explain black people in the caste system? Why is it wrong to have a caste system? So I in my last video, I had somebody in the comments that called themselves letting me have it. And I cracks up at those type of I call them conscious scholars. They believe that they are, telling me something, and they feel that they need to break it down to me because I don't have any discernment. And those type of people be cracking me up. Sometimes I be like, is this a fucking AI that just pick up a whole bunch of words and create a chat GBT behind it? But let's put the robotic frequency on the shelf and just look at people and their philosophies. You have to be careful of those type of energies because they don't really include or explain themselves. They just talk a whole bunch of words and feel that they're basically getting their communications. They feel that they're getting their point across. So they need to tell me that I'm Black Excellence, I'm Boule, I am Jack and Jill, and all of this shit here. And then try to use reverse psychology on me and tell me that I need that I could delete it now. I guess, okay, I guess you telling me something, and then I'm assuming that was supposed to make me feel away. So I did respond to them, and I said, I guess you told me in so many words in prayer and paraphrasing. But what I will comment on their situation, you absolutely motherfucking right, bitch, that I'm Boule and would, but I'm not Black Excellence. Understand that much. So I will explain that. However, Jack and Jill, I was supposed to be in Jack and Jill, but I chose to be a nigga tone. And then I didn't do Jack and Jill because I didn't want to be around them bougie people because I was conscious at a young age, right? Then my mom was trying to put me in Jack and Jill. And at this age, damn, I said, I wish I did go to Jack and Jill. Because I should have got into them. I should have got with those, into the connections and with. And then I thought about everything else that my mom kept trying to put me in different stuff. I was fighting the fuck out of her. She lucky she got me into the charm school shit because I was fighting that like a motherfucker. And I got caught up with that. Then she tried to make me go to a better school. She wanted to put me in private school. I said, no, I don't want to do that. And then she tried to put me in a better high school for educational purposes. No, I was under nigger tone. I wanted to go to a nigger school. I wanted to go to a school where a girl brought a machete to school, tried to chop her cousin up, and the teacher had to knock her over. I wanted to go to a school where I could cut and go up to my boyfriend's house and stuff like that, and just and not be told on. That's what I want. I went to that school. Okay, it was so much shit. It was the blacks against the Mexicans. That's what it is. That's why my ass almost flunked the 12th grade, because the time I was about to graduate, the counselor said, you have these many credits and we don't know if you could graduate. Then I had to get into a program. I had to do all that type of shit. My grade point average was a 1 point whatever. So there's fuck ups in your life, right? So because we got to sit back and look at the fuck ups when we sit up and don't listen, knowing who we are, okay? Because it can fuck up your whole existence. So I started to look at some energies because there's this man going around on social media trying to explain the frequencies of Boule, how it's connected to the, I'm going to say Rockefellers, Rothschilds, and even we're going to say the Vanderbilts, right? And they want to go around with that old school recycled ass story tell and the Dr. Umar Johnsons and conscious communities and all of that bullshit. They go the fraternities and Divine Nine and all this stuff and black people this. But in reality, it is a cold psychological recycled ass bullshit that they've been pushing on black people for a minute. And I got caught up in it, and I had to grow up and be a big girl and realize, you know what, that's on cap. When I first got on here, I was so pissed that I denounced my whole Boule goddamn family. But they asses didn't do that to me. They just told niggas I was crazy. So I was like, oh, okay. I've had it. My cousin who said, when you ready to come back and be yourself, I was like, you know? And the bottom line is that no, at one time I did do that, and I was very much in the conscious scene. And the conscious scene teaches you to denounce the Boule culture because it will say it is whitewash. You being white, you being white, you being white, and you believe in white ways. And growing up through the energies and understand, wait a minute, what the fuck did I just get caught up in? And the reason why I come that way is when you start to understand the consciousness, or what they call the conscious scholars telling you this information, you find out that them motherfucking conscious motherfuckers are up these white people assholes so damn tough that they are stuck in the fucking large intestines. You would be like, what in the world? They ain't donated to near thing black. They just been a fucking parasite. When you get into the Boule culture, they have financed different variations of the black culture, built black economy, and more. Okay, so we need to stop fucking playing here. Investments in movement, investments in the underworld, investments in church, creating organizations, creating exclusive organizations, and so on, putting their kids through school, sacrificing your ancestors who had to work, sacrifice because they didn't want their children to live a impoverished, slaved lifestyle, so they sacrificed. It's almost like the big house and the plantation. Oh, the niggas in the big house, they getting this, they getting that. It doesn't matter. Everybody's fucked up in the big house and on the plantation. Okay, that's just what it is. Everybody got fucked, right? So they're creating this whole culture but not telling the truth, and it is sponsored by something and someone. And the bottom line is that the Boule culture have always created a caste system. So therefore, when they keep talking about these Rockefellers and all that shit, the Rockefellers and all those energies are nothing but exclusive clubs and organizations and a system. Okay, because what people don't understand about the Boule culture, it pre-existed before even colonialism. When we are looking at the original government, especially in New England, it was the bougie, whatever you want to call it, or the Boules, who created the sophistication of government and culture. And this was before the Rockefellers and all of them. The Rockefellers and those energies learned the system and then colonized and then killed and maimed and mayhem and took over the frequencies. We better stop fucking playing. Philadelphia is a very much pinnacle energy for the bougie or the Boule scene because government was created and they created a system and a caste system. And then we bring it back down into the energies of the Carolinas, the South, and everything else. Then you create your church system and so on. So therefore, all of this bullshit that they want to talk about the system is on cap. They just want to keep your brains closed off and controlled and enslaved and broke and under Fashion Nova, bitch. So you need to stop listening to all this fucking shit about the Divine Nine and all that. But the bottom line is that if you extend it and move it away from the frequencies, you will always understand it always turns back down into the melanated people. From the Greek culture, the Italian culture, and so on. There's certain energies that come in that changed and infiltrated and created a hybrid frequency that changed the energies of culture. Okay, and that it is that part. So as I really started to understand, I said, damn, they really don't want black people to have a caste system, to have a culture, a club, or a religion, because the Boule energy was a religion, right? we have different energies of connections to the Boule frequency of the words. You have it in Africa, Afra, and then you have it, of course, in the indigenous frequency, and it all means the same thing. It goes back to wealth, prosperity, having wealth and more, and growing the system to capitalist society. I'm not about to hear you people create your Babylonian and capital this and fuck that shit. You broke and you want to be broke. You want to be poor. You want to be impoverished. You might as well get the fuck over it and understand government, because the government was created by our melanin people. Okay. So therefore, when we talk the divine nine, no, start switching it up, and it's the 6 and the 9. It is the alpha, the omega. It is the manifestation. It is wealth, prosperity, and income. And then you flip it. It goes back to, of course, the 9, 9 and the 6, 6 energy. You have to understand what it is. Again, alpha and omega. So we have to understand these codes and stop listening to all these frequencies of negativity in reference to how people across the universe have switched, changed, and created their own identities. Okay? Because the bottom line is that as far as the research, and funny enough, here we go, some of the research started to change around 1666, and then we can get into the 1700s. And then you know, these are things that are written, and I thought y'all knew this. And we go as far back with the Boule frequency. This is why I said this was a system that was already put in place. It's a religion, it's a culture, and it is a caste system of who we are. That's why they keep going into doing gentrification. They burn towns, they flood towns, anything dealing with wealth, because again, we are the commerce. We like wealth and prosperity. But then the funny thing is that they started to, there was a system that would start infiltrating, and it's called the third world colony infiltration, where there's a certain frequency that started to make its way in. Now, when we talk third world, sometimes we always connect black people to third world, but white people are also third world too, because they are immigrants, they are visitors, they are invaders. And then we start to understand this frequency of the Amish that equals to pilgrims, that equals to Quakers, and more in these systems. And then we start to have another infiltration of the Boule world, was pimping and pandering. We started to get a lot of underground drug energy into, of course, the Boule energy that infiltrated it. Okay, so of course we have to be careful. Now, when we get into the pimping and pandering in the underworld and the infiltrators, that's your black excellence. Those are the people who wasn't born in it. They just kind of made their way in it and became, as you guys call it, a Mason, a Freemason, a Shriners, and all the rest of the frequencies, a Lynx, whatever, Eastern Star. So then you had those people in it. They wasn't individuals that just, worked their way up and, part of the system. These are motherfuckers who infiltrated the system and then pimped it out, slutted it out. Marcus Garvey was one of the energies, and he's third world. And he pimped and mayhem the situation. And then we start getting people like, some of these pastors that came in and pimped and pandered and slutted out the dang system. And it was done intentionally. Al Sharpton is one of them. Okay, he's a black excellence. He's not Boule. He wasn't born in it. Come on now, we're gonna stop that playing with him. So we just give him, different examples. It's like we have parasites that created a symptom, but we never diagnosed none of the parasite or the symptoms. We just medicated it. We gave it medication, but not knowing what it is. And that is the symptom. The symptoms is the miseducation of understanding the black caste system, because some of you people did not deserve to be part of the exclusive club. But what you did was you pretended you made money, you sold dope, you pimped, you pandered, you made your way into the system and you infiltrated it and you fucked it up. So then it was easy to bring it down because the Boule people let you people in, then you end up pimping and pandering, putting the women on drugs, all that shit, fucking up families, fucking up households, fucking up systems. Okay? And that's exactly what they want. See, that's the part they don't want to talk about. Especially they want to bring this consciousness as if black people were missing out on something, and we wasn't missing out on shit. Okay? So therefore, our ancestors, I had to go back into, damn, our ancestors for real worked hard for us to be. And I'm going to keep repeating. If my grandmother kept trying to put in our faces, take your asses to this college, and we really wasn't listening to her, that's a problem. Okay? But at the same time, as black people, we got caught up in a system. It looked fun. It looked fun to fuck around with your bad boys. It looked fun doing drugs. It looked fun. Do you know how many households that was Boule? And when that crack came in, it fucked the whole game up. It was very interesting, and I was having this discussion with someone. I said, let's go back to good times. In reality, I was looking at a couple of their episodes, and I found it very interesting. The one with Debbie Allen is the reflection of what happened to the Boule woman. For some reason and somehow she'll get connected with the wrong crew. Okay? And let me say this about the Boule. Within that culture, you can also get caught up with white kids who are these rich white kids. You go fuck around with them and you start doing drugs with their asses and get caught up. So let me just say that too. But right now I'm just talking about with black people, how we get caught up. Because the more money you have, the more easier access to things. And that is for sure. Even now, you hang around a certain energy, they have the money. Do you know how much drugs goes on in high schools? In these, I call them uppity high schools, we'll say. Shit. We just have to understand, but let's just kind of look at some cultural things that is unequally yoked. Boule girls tend to date bad boys or lower level motherfuckers. At the same time, we have to understand these people are street smart. And they can outsmart us each time and every time. That's how we get caught up with them. And they also know how to tear you down to make you feel equal to them so they can actually be in your world. Good Times really demonstrated that energy when that episode of Debbie Allen messing around with JJ. But she was messing around with JJ because she had someone else before her that hooked her ass on drugs. And you will assume, well, how do you know it wasn't somebody within her culture? It could have been, it could have not. But I'm being really real of what I've seen in my life of frequency. And I said, damn. And every time you look, JJ was dating a Boule woman and would talk to them all type of sideways and which way is up. I remember the other episode with the Boule uncle who lost his money. They was going to borrow money and talk shit to him. The Boule cousin who was an alcoholic. Okay? So we have to understand some frequencies, right? I had a spiritual constituent bring up Whitley and Dwayne Wade. That was a lower level frequency that he brought her into a frequency. You know, that she had to struggle and fight. And that's how it is. That's what happens. Those are the infiltrators. Because when you are equally yoked, you're in your system. Whatever it is what it is. My mom kept going lower down into her energies. And then she realized one day, I have to climb up out of this. Because I realized what the fuck I did with my goddamn life. From the three men to marrying her father. God damn. My mom was in a choir, and her choir would go sing and volunteer at the prison. And I remember they was going to sing at Folsom Prison. My mom was too embarrassed to go because my father was in prison, in Folsom Prison. And my father is the type that will walk up and be like, hey, da, 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 da. She was concerned, so she did not go. It's that type of shit, right? I mean, this is real shit. Why would my mama, who's a Boule, be marrying my father in St. Quentin and more? What the fuck were you going through? What type of low self-esteem, inadequate behavior? What happened? And then, like I said, later on in life, thought about that shit. Like, what the fuck? My kid's father, Boule, he goes to junior high and meet these Bayview niggas, Hunters Point niggas. And next thing you know, he out there tripping. He dead now. My brother, he Boule, he lived a sheltered life. My mom tried to warn him about his wife before they got buried. I'm not being rude or disrespectful. I'm just looking at when things are unequally yoked in the Boule world. And it looks fun. It's fun. It's exciting. It's exciting. The sex is good. All this. Ooh, I get to do all that. Look at my brother. And he sat up and he played games with that situation. Not only did our grandmother's house get taken away, he ganked the fuck out of me and my brother. And at the end of the day, his wife, who was not in that life, got everything. It was just fucked up. It was just a fucked up situation across the board. And he's dead. Fucking around with these unequally yoked people will kill you. Do you know how many women I know get with unequally yoked men? Some of these niggas don't even have education, high school, none. And you over here with your fucking degree? And you messing around with that? You getting your ass kicked? Because it's fun? You getting your money taken from you, your house taken from you, your life taken from you? Because it's fun? This goes for black men too. It's fun. So then you let these people in, the black excellence. Then you have the audacity to not go to school and be educated? We're listening to the conscious world? Telling you what to do? Making it wrong? Creating polyamorous relationships? Infiltrating the colleges, which connects back to sorority girls. Some of you sorority girls come from a disenfranchised background, so you're easy to get caught up. You're going to school to be. Keep your ass in fucking school, mind your business, and stop being a fashion nova hoe. It fucked up the Boule when, especially back in the late 80s into the 90s, it started being a big deal of going to school and being a stripper. Infiltration. It started to look real raggedy of, you going to school, gangbanging, threesomes, getting your train ran on you. That's why after y'all graduate, them same men know who you are. Oh, this bitch thinks she a judge now, but she was up in that dorm sucking all them dicks. Isn't that Chocolate City? Remember her when she used to be on the pole twirling and doing that? I've seen them old niggas. Them boomers, oh, they'll tear your ass up. They will talk about your ass, talking about, I had a meeting. You remember old Cassandra? That bitch is a CEO of Essence. Remember when that bitch was buzzing it wide open up in? I'm just talking. Y'all sold the paperback and the color. Who gives a fuck? Let's really look at the real deal. Going to college, dating a man outside of school, getting pregnant. This has been going on since the boomers. I had a friend named Antonika, went to college in Mississippi, fucking had kids by a nigga. Girl, you supposed to be in college and went to jail. But you got to go back and look at the backgrounds of why this is happening. Dudes getting financial aid and scholarships, going to college, selling dope. The back then, when I was in high school, it was the Omega's Boys Club. The Omega's Boys Club was sending all these kids to school. Shit, I was going to go. I was going to go to Clark. And then my mama said, no, hot tail, you going to stay your ass right here because we need to watch your black ass. I said, oh, you could go to school right here, California. I look back on that. I was pissed. But I understand now. Because of me. My mama knew she... Now, I'm not signing that. You don't need to go to no Atlanta. I wanted to go to Spellman and chose Clark. I said, ooh, Spellman too controlled. I didn't want to be in an all-girl controlled environment. I changed my mind. Right? Infiltration. That's why college is fucked up right now. That's why scholarships are fucked up. I believe financial aid should be for people who are really about that life and at school. And I believe if your grade point average goes past a 2.50, it has to be reconsidered. Call me a hypocrite. I'm talking from experience. If your GPA is not a 3-point and you at an HBCU, then you don't deserve the full financial aid, either scholarship. Because like the Omega's Boys Club, it was sending all these kids to school for them to come back home. They getting into fights and shit and all that stuff. It's a predatory frequency. That's why these sorority girls are all fucked up, prostituting, the sorority boys being pimped and pandered, drugs, all that shit. Because these kids are coming from disenfranchised lifestyles. They love the Boule energy, loves the drama and the frequency. It's fucked up. And it's infiltrated. And I know it wasn't like that before. What it is, what it ain't. College is college. But all this bullshit is crazy. And then they have the audacity to create something called Black Excellence. Black Excellence ain't got shit to do with me. I'm a Boule woman. That's where I come from. My father didn't rob banks for me to be the Black Excellence person. You heard me. He got with my mother because he thought she was going to make him something. But he was a specimen. And that came from my father's own mouth. I didn't rob banks for you to be with that no good nigga. A man does for his family. If he ain't robbing and stealing and killing, he ain't shit. I said, oh, allegedly. I said, oh shit. My father felt the ways when I asked him for money. He said, where's your man at? The fuck is wrong with you? I said, oh shit. At that point, I had to learn some lessons. For real, for real. And when you get with these motherfuckers who are unequally yoked and they have an issue with you asking for money, that's a problem. They want to sit around and keep saying that black women are gold diggers. So what and be one? Rich bitch, poor bitch. Which one? Choose it. Fuck these niggas. Don't be with people because you want to control them. Boule people. Don't be with black excellence because they just in college. Because also dicks can fuck you over. You got to be careful. If you are building yourself up and you are at a system, keep yourself at the system. Don't keep fucking lower level dicks, because lower level things will happen. I'm kidding, but I'm serious. That's why Kamala Harris fucked up. She should not been on the side fucking lower level dicks. She should have kept them dicks high. I said them lower level dicks came back on her, huh? You keep fucking lower level dicks, it will siphon your money. Then you end up in a place. You crying, you suffering. You're confused. I had a spiritual constituents look at black exploitation. The Boule also got infiltrated after the Vietnam War. Because after the Vietnam War and during, that's when you start getting a whole bunch more consciousness that infiltrated. Black exploitation came along after the Vietnam War. And then you start getting a whole lot of black men disrespecting black women. I had my spiritual constituents study Pam Grier for a reason. And her movies. Because she lived a sheltered life. And a lot of black exploitation is connected to Boule girls, Christian girls getting caught the fuck up. It's not about white, it's a caste system. Which transitions into S&M and BDSM warfare. Black women have always been under sexual warfare. Sodomy, S&M, BDSM. And we just used to it. And it's like this caste system say you can't be nothing else, nothing less, bitch. That's why I said JD's revenge. We're supposed to get forced and like it. Who are you to be, bitch? This is Sparkle. I'm going to beat your ass. You light-skinned hoe. Who in the fuck you? Bitch, you fat. You can't talk shit. Just give me that goddamn. Help me. You ain't nobody. Oh, he likes my pussy. He gonna give me all his shit. Unequally yoked. And the world and black people are under black exploitationship. It is recycled behavior. And they want to keep coming at you with the recycled shit. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King are infiltrators. Betty Shabazz and Coretta Scott King are hacks. Stop playing. Farrakhan, all of them hacks. Man, I'm concerned. Are we sure Malcolm X and Martin Luther King really died and just didn't change their identity because that's not their identities originally? You got free men, the energies of free men and all. Just like right now, we over here talking about this energies of ice. The energies of this is so convoluted. And apparently I don't have discernment because it's all staged. It's all staged and we are the actors in it. There's people who have the leading role and we're in it. At first I was like, oh, but then I'm like, wait a minute, what the fuck is going on here? Somebody in my comments felt, I guess I'm a hypocrite because I agreed to something or I talked about something. And I started thinking, so what the fuck are they talking about? You mean about the militia? Are you talking about militia that you think ICE is the militia? Oh no, I still rock with the militia. Not the Proud Boys, not the rednecks, the real militia that are survivalists, who talk about black people, who say we're dumb, that we did not keep our culture, our folklores and ancestors energy. You mean them? Who be having a good gossip, who be knowing the what's up, who don't fuck with Alex Jones? That militia. Who's saying that we're moving out of California, we're going to move like to places like Alabama and shit. You mean them? I'm just asking because everything else is just orchestrated. Is that what you're talking about? Or Mexicans? Because sometimes I say, Mexicans preserve the black culture because they'll sit up and hire old school artists, play old music, go to antique places buying up our shit. You mean the shit that we supposed to preserve? Is that what you're talking about? I'm just trying to understand some things. Because I don't believe I've ever talked about ICE. But what I do respect about our Boule ancestors is when there's a fucking opportunity, they stepped in it. When World War II happened and my grandmother and my aunt came here to California, they worked them shipyards. They became my grandmother became a nurse. My Aunt Julia owned a cafe. When they put the Japanese in the concentration camp, especially in San Francisco, the black people bought up all that motherfucking property. They talked about that shit in my sociology class. I said, maybe that's why later in life it became cursed and their grandchildren and children ended up on drugs and crack and being stupid without discernment and selling off the properties and shit. How about that? But I'm going to put that on the shelf. They stepped into the issue. Black people, there's some money to be made. Maybe that's another reason why they was talking about the trade. Getting back into trade school. Because they want to get rid of people. I said, but you got to be careful because then that's where you also get computers and AI. I had a spiritual constituent telling me in Barcelona, they had a robot, not a waiter, but a wait person cleaning up and shit. You don't give room for them to create shit. Because they'll try to create a system to do landscaping and all that. Now, fuck that shit. Step in the shoes. This your time to make money. I told it to my son. I said, shit, you need to be buying a blower and and go and walk and get you some money. Build you a business. Get back to having a maid service. Walking around flyers. Fuck that shit. while you in school. They even now, and I ran my mouth, they busting the people in the nail shop. They got all these black people on fucking TikTok doing nails, bitch. Better step in that. Get back to cooking. Making all that cooking with, what's her name, Kaya or whatever. Y'all niggas on fucking social media. You better get you a cafe. They was allegedly showing where ICE busted all of these food trucks. Then I felt the ways. I said, wait a minute, you mean the ice cream truck not gonna be rolling down the street with them fucking sherbet ass ice creams with the goddamn hard ass balls in the eye? You mean the mayonnaise corn? What happened? But you know all that was cartel, allegedly. Huh. Especially niggas was standing on the streets selling flowers and shit. You go down to, what is it, LA wholesale? I knew it was something else because the wholesale was looking real raggedy. I said, this reminds me of Mission Street in San Francisco. I always knew it was some underworld shit going on with those damn wholesaling places downtown LA or whatever they call it. Is it downtown LA? It was always suspicious. Cause I seen money transactions happen, and then they talk a lot of shit. I knew it was something off. They out here showing the paid actors that they was having them pose and stuff like that. They allegedly trying to find a man again who was giving mask out. Yeah, you seen the No King protests. That's backed by the Jewish community and more. They're out here talking about that they are stopping black people and questioning them down. I said, I knew that was coming. You got to be careful going to college. I had to give strong advice to my client because her school tried to set her up. Be careful with you if you're an asylum person and your shit is still in waiting, because they come in and swooping you up, and these colleges are helping them swoop you up. These schools or wherever you work is helping to swoop you up. They call it an abduction. Just like you guys better be careful of the federal government. Meaning this, these jobs are finding ways to wrongfully terminate you and calling it a charge. And they're doing it because of the freeze. So this is cleanup time to get rid of people of color or black people. And they're creating something called a charge, and it's called defamation. I've been seeing these white people, be careful of these white people because they're trying to take your money from you, and they will create ways to defund you. They feel you have too much. I'm going through this now with one of my clients. Be careful of real estate agents, especially in the DMV, Washington, D.C. area. They ain't shit. They are intentionally, if you are black, they will sabotage your house and talk shit, slick talk, and will tell their client not to buy your shit, and then try to lower the value of your house, even the black ones. Just be careful out here as a black person. We just talking, we just having conversation. right? The other thing to watch with this whole ICE raids, look at the people, the ICE agents. They are all Latino. I haven't seen white boys. I haven't seen black men. I haven't even seen Asian men. They're all Latino and they barely know English. And then I think there's something, I don't know if it was called EDO. It doesn't say ICE. Who is this other? I might be seeing it wrong. I don't know, it was EBO or something. It doesn't say ICE. And I still don't know why the Marines are here. California said that they didn't want the National Guards here. I was like, okay, but the Marines? And then, who are these agents that don't know English? Look at them. They all look third world. Even I did see a couple of white boys. They look like Russian or Ukrainians. And you understand, in them shelters, they separated the American people from the third worlds. Where did those people go? Like I said, the food trucks are questionable. I had to call my landscaper. I'm like, are you okay? You good? Because I haven't seen you. And then he was saying his rigmarole. And I was like, okay. Maybe it's time for black people to get back to burying people at the cemeteries. Maybe they've had their energies when they open up the casket and steal people rings and their heads and their gold and their suits to create Apollo shit. Bury them and throw their shit in the damn hole so they could gain wealth. I think this is going to be a play. In my head, this should be a play called Loco Cholo. And it's all the ICE raids and they singing on stage. And then it goes in different energies. It's like a West Side Story. Right now, we are in performance art. And there's going to be a movie about this and a show and a Netflix. And all along, they was recording the shit as it was happening. And it's going to be different stories. Episodes. They should have another play called Jamaica Ice. And they have Jamaican people singing opera. Let me back into America. They made us go back into Jamaica, and we don't know what the fuck is going on. They really pulled a twinkle of an eye on our black asses. They got them Trumps rolling, and then next thing you know, mayhem. Be funny, ICE get all those food trucks and carts, bust them, knock them over, and it was a whole bunch of cocaine up in there, and they could have us all distracted. They bringing in the new crank. Because they was talking about that in Philadelphia, how there's this new crank with a higher frequency of fentanyl that's calling blood vessels to burst and causing holes, diabetic holes, to happen with people in their bodies and eating at them. And crack came back. All them people that was working was all mules. It makes the government look bad because some of these people went into military and they were considered illegal, but they been here long enough that they could join the military. It'd be funny if some of them people that they said was illegal was ICE. I have a question. What the fuck is going on with them South Africans? Because they say they ain't got shit. They have them in hotels and stuff. And then you heard about the man who allegedly killed his wife. What the fuck was really going on with that? Because we didn't forgot about that whole story. And I have a question. Somebody in my comments was talking about that she's dating or her husband is Honduran. What is with these Hondurans in Louisiana? Because, you know, sometimes they pull a Mariah Carey, they're black when it's convenient. Because, you know, they was part of the energies of why black Americans wasn't getting resources, because the Hondurans in Louisiana was getting scholarships and shit under being black. But then when shit hits the fan, they'll say, I'm not black. That's why they was talking about that Angel Reese is Honduran. What's this community? You're just talking, right? Have y'all been hearing about them taking away women's health, and women are no longer going to have to go to the doctors for pap smears? They're going to give them kits to do at home and then send it back. Have y'all been hearing about that? What's going on here? Is it because of these transsexuals? Did you hear about the marching band that wants young black women to know when their periods have started? That's HIPAA. And you are not going to use a black woman's energy to manifest. Right? White people are funny. White people have always been boosters. They never watch white people boost. I cracked up when I seen this white man walk up into Ralph Lauren, I think in Georgetown, and his ass went and stole a 6,200 Cooper calf skin duffel bag. They said and they showed him his ass walked up in there. I said, bitch, who he's in white people news? I was listening to something. They was talking about the Federal Reserve's bank has a vault with all this gold around the world. The Vatican have scrolls, letters, and manuscripts. And we're concerned about the Library of Congress. But what the fuck does the Vatican have in hiding? Just like I was talking about the statues, and somebody said a time capsule. You're right. That is a time capsule, to be hiding shit in a fucking statue. And they're hiding our history. Did you hear about that story? I don't know if it was in Florida or whatever, about the little girl and the mama lied, talking about that somebody kidnapped her daughter. Then to find out the boyfriend of somebody killed the little 3-year-old. I'm wondering, is that story even real? Because it's so whitewashed. I said, this don't even sound black. This sound like a made-up ass story for me. She lied, talking about the daughter was acted up, so she pulled to the side to talk to her. Then some kidnappers stole the daughter. Sometimes these stories are so staged and organ and propaganda, they can't be real. And they'll do that. Antonio Messi, I guess he's still out for the count. They still not trying to find him, huh? Whatever that is. And I told you that he's connected to Sonia Messi, right? And I think there's another one that's still out, supposed to escape from Louisiana prison. We got to ask questions. Some people saying that the Antonio Messi, he's been reaching out to people, talking to them, especially in Louisiana. Ananda Lewis, I wonder what type of sacrifice that was. Because remember, I was talking in my last video, but then I had no clue that she had allegedly have a child by Will Smith's brother. Did y'all know that? And then the next thing you know, you got Will Smith popping up on my feed talking some song called Girls, Girls or something. And they all look like trans men. And ballroom shit. I said, oh, they done got Will Smith in this shit. I don't give a fuck what it is, what it ain't. It's like, what the fuck? Get this shit out of our hair. They need to be sulfured at this point. I'm so tired of these people. That's why the white girls taking over the gay scene. The white girls said revenge and redemption. A revolution. Fight, fight, fight. We just gonna come into their gay club and take over. Now the white boys all angry because they tired of the white girls coming in. No, you're gonna be my husband. I'm gonna marry you, gay man. We're gonna have a bridal shower here. Fuck y'all. We're protesting. Did you hear about all along they was out here killing people with kidney disease, dialysis, and they could have been and told us that kidneys can regenerate itself, and mainly GMO foods is affecting the energies, diabetes medicines, but it can fix itself. That's a fucking governmental lawsuit. That's a governmental lawsuit, as well as the drug scene is a governmental lawsuit. Tyler Perry. They keep talking about he's a self-made billionaire. He's a sponsored ass motherfucker. And they have made him kind of a gatekeeper of Black Hollywood. And my question is, why do people want to be part of this mythology jazz hands cult? He's not real. I'm peeping. I'm like, dang, they even knocked Lee Daniels out the way. Then I started to look at some things. I said, in reality, Bill Cosby was an underlying gatekeeper. Then they made sure to wipe him out the way. Then I started looking at John Singleton. They killed him out the way. I don't understand what the fuck happened with the Wayans family. And then I started peeping. I said, Mario Van Peebles and Melvin. Wait a minute, what's happening here? What happened to these people, right? And there's more. Robert Townsend, how, wait a minute, hold on, what's happening? Then I went back to, wasn't it a Jordan Pelly? I said, we don't have questions? Tyler Perry is a witch. And he's fucking up the black community with that bullshit. Or them story rhymes. Funny enough, Angie Stone, did he have an insurance on her or something? What's happening, allegedly? What's the energy? They creating all these gatekeepers. Like black people need gatekeepers. Get the fuck under these gatekeepers and become Boule. Tyler Perry is nowhere Boule. He's an agitator. His whole energy is agitating. That nigga look like red rum. He look like Beelzebub. I don't trust him. I don't trust his movies. They're demonic. As much as shit I've been through in frequencies, I don't identify with that shit. And neither should you. Did you see that shit with how the white woman was being condescending to Jaguar Wright when she was talking about Tyra Banks? If we don't get that Tyra Banks and Naomi Campbell or when in jail, I think they finally let Naomi Campbell out. Tyra Banks is in jail now. They have her allegedly in Australia, allegedly. Is it me, or does Jeffrey Epstein look like Andrew Jackson, the president, I guess, on a $20 bill? Isn't that very interesting how they create these people to look like people that we've seen? Go look at Andrew Jackson, and Epstein. Kanye West shows up to Diddy's court date. He's being pimped out. Are we finally seeing the story with 50 Cent? Who he is? That gatekeeper? Sound like 50 Cent is some interesting specimen, isn't he? Because they've been talking about his ass in the industry. They just gave you a little bit about that Asian woman he's with or was with or whatever. But are you getting who he is? And the game's being played in your face about 50 Cent? I'm telling you, it wouldn't be shocking if Suge Knight was pimping all them niggas. Somebody was asking me in my comment to upload my video about the movie Us that was done in Santa Cruz. That's very odd. Hell no. Because if you don't know, Santa Cruz is spooky as a motherfucker and there's an underlying frequency there. I don't have time to be fucking around with no underground zombies of 2019 when we have new underground zombies that they've created in Las Vegas. They didn't sat up and did all that spell work in Las Vegas, and then now the purgatory to have uprooted and the Trump has trumping, and now the dead has arise again, and you getting all them old time gangsters and motherfuckers have been murdered and shit walking around Las Vegas. Y'all didn't sat up and brought them damn Eastern cultures there and fucked up the whole scene. They was doing a whole history of the mafia from the 40s to the 80s. How they ran Vegas. I said, damn, I wish they come back. Now they want to build a damn Jewish hotel. Fucking around with circus. You didn't set up and bulldozed them hotels and them people don't have a place to go that was dead up in there. Do you know how many people then jumped out the fucking window? Do you know that whole shootout they did, that massacre in Las Vegas? Then people probably they rose again and start walking. Then you wonder why Vegas is crashing. They had the audacity to have all of these residencies, and them niggas then got out of jail. Fat Joe and them, I guess they finally paid off their debt. I don't know about that Ja Rule. Motley Crue, Janet Jackson, Mariah Carey, they all have a debt. People go there and be doing all that summoning, but it's a different type of summoning. You would never think bulldozing businesses or hotels would ever cause ghosts to be at unrest. Yes, they're going to be at unrest. I don't care who you fucking bring there. It's on native land. You know damn well Vegas is built on top of something. And the tribes got cleared out. You know it. They hiding history. But then let alone there was still respect for the land. But you can't bulldoze all of that history there and think things are not going to walk around. It's eerie. They need to do a movie about the underground zombies and the people getting picked up off the street and being used as sacrifices and more, and the unrest. People talk about they seeing black shadows. You seeing more than black shadows. That's why people walking around Vegas like a zombie. That's an eerie ass motherfucking place now. It is as eerie as this movie coming out. I think it's called 28 Years Later. Have y'all seen the trailer for that shit? And the music, the soundtrack, is using like a hypno propaganda type of Nazi energy music. Communist China, communist Nazi. And the undertones is a certain beep. I don't know the frequency of it, but it sounds like a heart monitor. That's a certain energy. And it's psychological. It's a psychological affair. But it's very much Nazi, right? So I was reading, somebody sent something to me in reference to GloRilla, and how somebody said that GloRilla energy is working in the New Testament. GloRilla is a peon who's being sponsored. I wouldn't be shocked if Paula White is the gatekeeper of the Christian church. And then there's pseudo motherfuckers like a Jamal Bryant. Pseudo. And Kirk Franklin. But it really Paula White. I'm just giggles and laughing, but there's something. Because everybody stepped down. Okay? First of all, I seen that Jamal Bryant Homie the Clown interview that he did with those gay men. It's time to say that's an abomination and is disrespectful to the church. They want to talk about the church is communist. The church is this. It's a game. It's a game to change religion. It is. They are purposely hiring and sponsoring these men. In white people news, the white people are sick and tired of the gay marriage in the church. In a minute, I'm going to say put sulfur, spray with sulfur. You talking about holy water? Use that urine, allegedly. The real holy water, urine. That's the real holy water they don't tell you about. Putting them in funnels and all of that, letting the urine sit and blessing the ground. Not that other water. The real water. They need to be under sulfur. They need to be broken down. Their kingdom need to be broken down. The ballroom scene, your kingdom need to be broken down. All that need to be broken down. It is a parasite for the Black community and the understanding of life. It's confusion. It's not hate talk, is what it is. I'm tired of these crazy ass Black people talking all this shit on these podcasts. You need to be sulfured. Y'all out here trying to recreate Lot and Sodom and Gomorrah. You need to be sulfured. You guys think, I just have just a bit of faith. Enough for a mustard seed. Bitch, you're blasphemy. You need to be sulfured. Y'all out here talk about GloRilla. She's for the new community. She needs to be sulfured. Y'all out here acting like Jesus. I had this conversation with my spiritual constituents. The darker side of Jesus, huh? Jesus didn't die for your sins. He didn't give a fuck. If he gave a fuck about you, then he would have preached the word. He would have been the Messiah. He came down here to preach the word and to set you free. He never set you free. The God he served gave him the miracles, so you can have the miracle. That's why everybody can't work in the spiritual world, because the spirit put certain people on this earth to be the vessel. And he was supposed to be the vessel, but he became arrogant and ego tripping and believed he was more powerful than the God who gave him the power and for God who gave him the power. Because he was supposed to preach. You guys get all confused. He didn't sat up and he took the demons out the man and put them in the pigs. That man had 360 demons inside of him. He chose 6. If not, the 6 and the 6 and the 6. And threw a few of them in the pigs. But this man still have many. That was just to give you a taste. He stole blood from a woman. His job was to show people how to fucking manifest and preach the word, and he didn't do that. He killed himself and took the word with him. That's why Pilate was like, look, man, can you just show the people? Preach, tell them something. I ain't saying shit, and I'm denouncing that motherfucker called God. I'll kill myself first, and I'll go to the devil, to the purgatory, and I'll sit there. Oh, you ain't shit. We're gonna put you on a cross with a liar and a thief, because you're a liar and a thief. Oh, well. I'll just work with the devil. He'll bring me back. And I'll have people following me as they did. We got motherfuckers killing themselves for me anyway. They dying for me anyway. I ain't got shit to prove to them. They don't need the word. But you niggas out here talking about mercy and grace. The mercy and grace was supposed to be him giving the word and people righteousness. Not everybody can be a leader. But it's okay to follow when you are followed in the right way and fed properly. And many of you will disagree with me. This is why I practice the darker side of Jesus, because you won't get it. Because y'all out here Jesus and you ego tripping. And we all do it. We'll sit up here and get fucking blessings and then say, fuck God, fuck this, fuck the spirit, fuck ancestors. I got this. Then you end up like Hagar, get kicked up out the fucking village. Then you want to go back to the promise. And the spirits, when they make a promise with you, they keep it, but they make you go through your lessons. Because I keep telling you, Hagar was the chosen one. And Abraham liked her, that black woman. Sarah is under Isaac and Muhammad. That's why I said these are 2 different energies. It's above y'all pay grade. And you say, Hagar, it was brought to my attention. I said, you know what, spiritual constituents, you are right. Hagar she started ego tripping. That's what happens when you have polyamorous relationships. Somebody gets angry and somebody gets kicked out. But the spirit promised Hagar and kept its promise. Then we're wondering about Iran, Lebanon, Kuwait, and all this 1980s, 90s shit popping back up. The Israel and da-da-da-da. You got God fighting against Muhammad. And as you really look at it, if Ishmael was the righteous one, that means Isaac isn't. So who's the problem, Isaac or Ishmael? These guys, somebody went in my comments about, I'm surprised that you didn't talk about, was it Mythia, whatever, with Baal. Why? Mythia is Jesus. Scholar? Spiritual scholar? We're going to tell this bitch, she should be talking about this. She knows all much. She knows how to determine. She don't know shit. She don't know shit. How the fuck you gonna fight the pandemic and Baal? You're not even using Satan, the devil, and Lucifer anymore. You guys are under Jesus. And the purgatory and the dead is walking. But then you're like, but wait a minute, but didn't you say Jesus is wealth? Jesus is wealth. But which Jesus are we talking about? Christ or the Christ? But Jesus didn't give y'all wealth. He took the wealth with him. He didn't give you the word. His job was supposed to be the fucking vessel. He's not even a prophet. He was supposed to be the prophet. Y'all missed it? He died for my sins. He walked Calvary. He rose again for himself. He didn't give you no word. The son of Mary. He said, fuck his mama. Matter of fact, fuck Mary Magdalene. Then you wonder why Judas said, nigga, I'm going to tell every bit of who you are. You got these niggas fooled here at the Last Supper, but you ain't got me fooled. We out here got spiritual scholars, conscious thumpers, cyber witches. You know you bitches. You find everything on the internet. Then you challenge. If it's not written, if it's not this, it's challenged. We got conscious thumpers, got y'all niggas confused about spirituality and occultism and the aesthetic. I had somebody challenge me saying, bitch, if you got discernment, your fat ass wouldn't be sitting up there eating that damn burro and wouldn't be shaped like a Taco Bell and shit. And so therefore you don't have discernment because you should have known not to eat that. Well, I'm going to add on to it. I was eating all that Mexican shit and my ass up here shaped like a fucking tostada and a damn enchilada. And I had to say, bitch, I'm under Diablo. I got to get from under Diablo. Now what? Maybe I wanted to be under Diablo, but I learned my fucking lesson. eating that GMO shit. That's pandemic food. I'm under pandemic. You think you could get away from pandemic food? You eating pandemic food right now in your grocery store. You don't know where in the fuck that food came from. They never told you that they threw away that food from the pandemic that has a date on it, an expiration date. When you buy DoorDash, your pandemic. Uber Eats, your pandemic. Postmates, your pandemic. Instacart, your pandemic. They fucked you up, leaving you in a goddamn house to order food, McDonald's, Burger King, a Subway, junk food, candies, isolated you to eat Mexican and Indian and all these third world frequencies, made it more junkier. What's it called? That Burra shit came during the pandemic. It wasn't around before. They used to call it pulled meats. Then they made it into something horrific that it hardens up and hardens in your system. They made the alcohol toxic. They had weed dispensaries open for you to get high and eat and drink. The fuck you talking about, discernment, bitch? Shit. Well, I eat healthy. I eat kale. You're eating what? Arsenic? Well, I'm going to grow my vegetables. What? In toxic soil? Feces soil, human soil. Because the real motherfucking seeds are in Norway. They have all the seeds around the world, even ones that have been extinct or discontinued, is in this vault in Norway. Including the real watermelon seeds. Do you understand that? So don't tell me about no fucking discernment. Bitch, you're under it. You're under the spell. Well, I'm just going to be a vegan and I'm going to fast. You don't even know how to fast. You got men out here telling you how to fast. You're just going to be a fucking host. There's a difference in fasting and detoxing. And women have a different frequency when it comes up in that world. But you guys be under these men. You be under Muhammad's. And some of you guys wonder, why she keep talking about Muhammad's. Because that's what we're under. Pandemic. Baal. Equals Muhammad. You guys out here talking about I'm a vegan. You're just a host. You're just it's a parasite. Vegetables and so on. You gotta boil the fucking apples to remove the pesticides. That's why they did that whole research with fucking Sprout and Whole Foods. Then you're like, well, I'm going to grow my own vegetables, but the seeds they're giving you are artificial, is GMO. My son did a program at Chevron. And Chevron being part of the GMO energies of creating seeds for hunger. Antibiotics. All of that. And it's killing us. And it's killing all of us. Do you know it's more people who are vegetarians that are dead than people who eat meat? And some of bitch, you better do your study. No, you better do yours. And the funny thing is, they used to talk about all this in the late 80s and 90s. They don't talk about it anymore. In the world of occultism, there's a cult discrimination. You guys are under consciousness. Under the world of consciousness, here's the following. For you to be repped and considered believable, you have to be slim, slender, skinny, high vibrational, in tune with the universe. Your spell work doesn't work because you're not reputable. All this meditation retreats, you have to be under these herbs and all this shit, tonics, whatever. But you're less reputable if you're fat, you're out of shape, you're just full of poison. You're untrustworthy. You don't know what you're talking about. You're subpar. You live in subpar conditions, subpar mind. No connection with the universe at all. And I'm finding this very interesting because 99% of occultists are plus size. The original occultists were plus size. We're confusing consciousness with occultism. We are confusing a conscious cult with occultism, spirituality, whatever you want to call it. It's confusion. You had the audacity to hear later millennials and Gen Zs talk shit about plus size women in the church. Because the cyber witch or cyber witches are listening to the cult. But they have blanketed the occult world for profit business, but not really occult people. So they created a template. That's why I said, oh, they want your hair wrapped. They want all of these energies. Okay, they want you under Moorship. That's why they out here talking about some of the people behind the ranch. They're talking about the evilness behind the ranch. Do you know how many people be talking about Akon and what his people are who's under and who do what and this? They didn't have you guys practicing Hindu that's similar to Orishas that are similar to Hinduism. And they have recreated this energy. Orishas ain't working for you, black people. It's the essence that's underneath it with the ancestral frequencies. And some entities or spirits work with something so you can hear them. I have a spiritual constituents who keep having a dream about young Dolph. And I say, is he still alive? Because he just keep talking to her. And I said, that's an ancestor working through him who's trying to communicate. But then I went to the left, like, is he still alive? There is not a template to say if someone is connected to the universe, if they're an occultist, a spiritual. There's not. It's just that people need to give you an image and a brand. It's an industry. So they gave you an industry and then sat up and told you on social media, if that person is fat, you cannot listen to them, either have work done, because your work will become fucked up. That is inaccurate. That's out of line, and that's deceptive, and that is an industry tale. That is a conscious community coming in, redefining a frequency. That's them love and light niggas who got caught up in the asshole of the white world love and light frequency that they created for themselves, and niggas got in that shit and brought that over into the black community to disenfranchise the church and occultism that's underneath it, and the aesthetics, because it is white people who have the true issue of body size and weight, but will go get work done from a black woman who is 5,000 pounds, then have the audacity to go take different parts of the black culture and create their own subgroup. So we have the conscious community, the main ones that's talk about the Boule, going under white people to create their energies. And there's a question. But Boule is questionable, right? So we have to understand the spell work and who's the sponsor behind it. You have Negroes traveling far, far away into Eastern cultures to find spirit. Do you understand black people back in the day in the industry would have parties eating fried chicken and greens and had the spirit could sing and sing their ass off and be entertainers, drink champagne and be merry? Tap into the Holy Spirit and Holy Ghost. Then at some of these concerts have to have the Bible thumpers with the Bible open and cocaine right there, so they could go in the back and sip the cocaine and read their word and go back out and perform. But you say there isn't any discernment, but you're the one who don't have the discernment or the foundation because you're caught up in a damn cyber witch aesthetic. White people don't have spirit, and they never will. They have possession, but they don't have any spirit to them. That's why they're always looking for it. They are looking for a Messiah. That's why it's so easy to conquer them and come in with the next best thing. So without discernment, you don't get to see that. You don't get to see the evolution of the breakdown of us as being spiritual and occultists. As long as we keep living the way we living and thinking the way we living, we are gone. The spirit keeps showing us, if you just have a little, I'm giving you the door. Just walk in it. So we have to understand, as Black people, we can't save everybody because some needs to die. We have given our souls, our talent to everybody around the world, and they are manifesting off of our energies and our ancestors' energies. We look stupid going to Japan doing a breakdancing competition. We look stupid going to a dance and they're up there doing line dancing and the Chicago step dancing. We look stupid joining a sorority and fraternity and it's a whole bunch of Indians and Latinos step dancing. You look stupid. You look stupid going to a white woman braiding your hair. You look stupid going to Vietnam or somewhere getting your hair twisted and braided. You look stupid. You look stupid having them fingers up in your scalp. You look stupid traveling far, far ways to go to an African shop to get your hair braided and eating jollof. And this is the new luxury. And you don't even know who fucking sponsoring it. That could be some damn Chinese or Ukrainians behind all that shit. And Russians, and giving you the front of Africans. And some of you so silly talking about, well, jollof and the foods at the milk, that's my African food. You don't know who you are. If you love seafood, then eat it. If you're attracted to it, eat it. Because you got niggas out here talking about you eating them sea roaches. Well, bitch, maybe I'm a roach. I'm a fucking roach. I'm a demon. And what? Now what? Now what? You eating foreign chicken. Guinea hens, yeah. Hens, yeah. But foreign chicken. I watch white people. I watch what the fuck they eat. These people out here eating pork and beef. Meanwhile, ever since that veganism and other shit, y'all been smelling like feces. Men don't even get in the bath anymore. You think by your diet is going to take away the fact that you need to get in the bath? And y'all out here smelling like homeless feces. And it's the morning time and y'all out here smelling like feces. And y'all not homeless. Ladies, you don't even put on perfumes anymore. You smell like feces too. Y'all out here practicing all this shit. It smells like feces and it's coming through your pores. People are talking about y'all, especially in Uber and Lyft. You just nasty. And it's coming out. Y'all out here talking about you're still looking for the word and mercy and grace. Do you understand that you're under mercy and grace and sins are forgiven when you lived in your mother's belly for 9 months and you go through that womb and the birth canal and you go through the blood, under the blood, and you think the blood is coming from a man, but the blood is coming from a woman. And when you come out, you have blood on you. Because the woman is heaven, and the spirit and the creator created her to birth you and be baptized through the blood, and you under the blood, and you're supposed to stay under the blood, but you guys get caught up with man. Because as soon as you come out that vagina, the spirit knows that you already in sin, so it covers you with the blood, because you forgot who the blood where it came from. But you guys out here getting C-section and cesareans because you want to save that vagina. But you're not realizing that you're not covering your child with the blood. Then you go to man, then you go to Christ. That they present you that is a man. Talking about that he's covering you with the blood because he died for you. You talking about go dip that person in the water for baptism. You already in baptism in your mama's belly. And man know this. Man knows this. Man knows that he ain't got power. Now when it comes into the spiritual world, that's why they taking yours. You out here getting caught up in this cyber witchcraft. Y'all out here listening to these Hotep African Bombada bitches getting your life sucked from you. Your whole mind dissolved. People be cracking me talking about, you could do so much more. You're so powerful. You could do so much more with your energy. No, I'm going to listen to the spirit. Fuck you, you man. I'm going to listen to what spirit wants me to do. Ah, this bitch crazy as fuck. She keep talking about something she can't see. That's right. You all keep going being practical. You all going to keep being under ritual. Because I understand the practical and the ritual. Oh, she's confused. She can't talk about the church, this and that. That's because I'm in the spirit. What she know? I know better. Of course you do. Because the word says this, and I do this. And who I'm under. I'm the super bitch here. That's why y'all gonna be under this new age magic. The new age magic has y'all isolated. Y'all gonna be under this new age tarot psychology where they have you under the 5-point and 12-step program. I'm hearing there's going to be a new sheriff in town. They have all you niggas under tarots. And remember I told you they're going to start to control tarot readings? It's going to be regulated. Now psychologists under the CIA and industry is going to start tarot psychology. Where during your sessions, they'll be reading tarots on you. Using another frequency to read on you. Because the world of psychology is to control the frequencies. And there's a certain standard. That's why I am a different energy than what that is. I am a spiritual psychology scholar. I am an honorary because I do different researches, dissertations, and theories. You going to get caught up. These tarot psychologists are industry. Apparently, they used to be in the entertainment world, and they have been kicked out of the entertainment world, or things are not going the way they want it to go. So they're going to start getting honorary psychology degrees, and because they're going to be your handlers and your gatekeepers, and they're going to use a system that is created by someone else to tell you about you, and to read into you, and to write different frequencies about you. I had a spiritual constituent tell me about this woman. The woman said people who believe in religion are crazy. She's a psychologist, right? So you have a psychologist deeming people who believe in religion, which includes occultism, you're crazy. So she wanted to allegedly go sleep with this Jewish man. The Jewish man was in his religion and said, I can't mess with you because you are not part of the religion. We are unequally yoked. But her being a white girl, she like, what the fuck you talking about? I want to fuck. He like, no. I'm trying to respect you and respect my religion. And she was persuading him, but you know he's a man. You know him. You could persuade a man. They may not even want to have sex with you, but they will because they have a dick. They end up having sex. So I said, oh, so she must have sucked his dick first. And he said, fuck it. So she keeps fucking men who have some kind of standards. And she's saying they're crazy because they believe in cultural customs, folklore, proverbs in their culture and religion. But she keeps fucking them though. And she's a psychologist. But who's crazy? Her or them? Psychologists and the way that the mental is trained, they use different codes. I call it the beta neurological theory. And they sit up in their beta neurological theory and study you and say, you're crazy. And so now, this phenomena of tarot that has been around for centuries and decades in different cultures. And it was really booming during, I call it the bohemian and hippie. But it was used in a certain way, even in some seances. But you have to be careful what's on top. It's like a sigil. So now, not only do we have the church crashing, now we're going to have in tarot psychologists who are most likely going to be taught under the CIA, because you know the CIA creates religion, culture, customs, and lifestyle. Movements, fads, trends, niches. The next cultural experience. Genres, no genres. Clothing, cheap clothing. Fast fashion, discontinuance of fast fashion. School, education, government. CIA is a social experiment, a social research. Do you know how many times people ask me to write a book and people try to be real sarcastic? You don't got your book out. Because they want to know the system. Do you know AI is a motherfucker? It would take my words, put it on the internet. Somebody would take my words, create a book behind it, and then say it's not mine. That's why they don't want any regulations on AI, because AI is a thief in the night. That's why there's so much shit going on in the educational world, because you have professors stealing students' theories and research. And I mean known professors. And then because it's similar, they'll say, no, this was my study, but they didn't look at your work and stole it and just reworded it. Which deals in the world of psychology and all this. That energy is similar to when you get your Santeria reading, your Ifa reading, and they write down the prescription. These psychologists are going into demonic elements because the new energies of people they can't read into, because everybody is under cyber and they under some kind of spiritual warfare. So the new psychologists are not taught to read. So now this tarot psychologist wants to tap into the world of occultism. But they're going to end up harming themselves because those demons are going to turn on all of them. The tarot psychologists. But I'm going to bet you they've been practicing that way. It's like the school system. It's like you had dyslexics and you had people with behavioral disorders. Then they went and mixed in the behavioral disorders in with the dyslexics, which caused a lot of the school system to crash and teachers to retire because they didn't know how to handle the behavioral problem. They wasn't ready for the behavioral problems. They wasn't ready for them crack kids. They knew the heroin kids because those are the ones that was dyslexic or whatever was going on. But they don't know them crack kids. So that's the same thing happening in the world of psychology. How do you handle a motherfucker with fentanyl, with certain sexual frequencies, with how the new world is moving? They are so frustrated in the psychology world because you're not ready for this. That's why psychologists can't tap into the world that I'm in. Because they don't know how to handle the real world, which is under this. So they have used tarot. Right? That's why everybody think that they are the cold kappa of the industry. Somebody forwarded me something very interesting saying that there was a shooting in the DC area by an undercover or an unannounced marshal. You could hear I see the man on the ground because somebody recorded it and sent it to me, and you could hear people in the background saying he didn't even do anything. That's what I'm talking about, the illusion of life. That's why they hate social media, because people record shit and put it up and you hear the real truth. What they show you in this cyber world of social media and social media news is fake. For real, for real. They only want you to know what they want you to know. Right? Somebody is making up some shit on Huey P. Newton. They said maybe a homosexual could be the most revolutionary. He didn't say that shit. And they know it. And they use the word homosexual. Not even the gay movement, but the homosexual movement. Bullshit. You see how they're paying? See how they're playing? Let me say this. There's some energies of new sports that's coming up, right? You notice how they have suppressed football and basketball, because football and basketball is an illusion. Now, they have restructured the sports world that they are creating intellectual sports, which is combat and coliseum, where you have to use your brain to win. They are ousting intentionally black people from these type of sports. Who's in it are Mexicans, Middle Easterns, and Indians. Be careful of that world, because black men black women dominating everything, even intellectual sports. And they purposely, intentionally trying to oust you and be racist and discriminatory. But you also have to be careful of the world. The world is a cheater. You have certain cultures, strongly Indian cultures, that use their entities and deities to whoop your ass. And when they lose, they will backstab you and try to get points or try to fuck you over because they believe that they're better than you. Black people, you better start thinking and being stronger in your frequencies, because these people are straight playing games in your face. They creating a caste system in your face, and y'all sitting around not saying nothing, not doing nothing. You just volunteering. They are changing the sports system into intellectual sports, and they're intentionally investing in sponsorship to deteriorate anything dealing with black people or what black people dominate in. But they don't understand, again, that we are intellectual, intelligent people. And I was telling spiritual constituents, I said, maybe the gay lifestyle can actually subside itself if men do get into coliseum sports. And I'm not talking about football, like for real rough ass shit. Some men are combat, some are not. Some things appear as, ooh, that's gay, wrestling, all that. Maybe your man have to do that. Combat. Actually, dating a football player is quite ghetto of you. They are another reason why the Boule world is fucked up. Basketball and football fucked up the Boule world. Football players are crazy. And homosexual, and basketball players, and bring in a hood life, and bring in a certain frequency. I was looking at Dwayne Wade's son, who they call, what's his name, Zaya. He graduated. How come the little sister was looking at him like she didn't know who in the hell he is? I said, is there something funny going on? Is this all real? Kids tell the truth. She don't know him. There's something going on at home that maybe he looks one way at home and different here. Because she looked at him up and down like, I don't know you. Who is this? Did you see the other son of Dwayne Wade had that goddamn Jerry curl? I said, this nigga has a Jerry curl. I said, are they bringing back Jerry curls? I was looking at something where they was talking about, what is it, the word up against the Jerry curl in the 80s and 90s. I said, black people are such wizards. They're so magnificent. They be coming up with shit. I heard that a white woman was angry saying a Jerry curl is evil. It is. You was a motherfucker. But it's spell work. Anyway, this is Weird Renegade Witches Blog. Hit us up when you want some real motherfucking work done.